Welcome back. As I said, we're going to make chocolate fondant. Chocolate fondant is the absolute dream for all those chocolate lovers out there. So if they're not watching, make sure you grab them and get them in. It's a pudding with a liquid chocolate centre in the middle, and it's quite easy to make, and certainly something you should give a go at home. So to get started, you need 150 grams of dark chocolate, 80 grams of caster sugar, 150 grams of butter, 3 eggs, 3 egg yolks, and a tablespoon and a half of plain flour. To begin with, you just need to melt your chocolate, sugar, and butter all together. The best way to do this is over simmering water. It's more gentle than any other ways of melting it together, and it ensures that your chocolate isn't going to overcook. So, just placing all those in together. Make sure you give it a stir because you want them all to melt at the exact same time. So keep stirring it until it's all dissolved in, and this is pretty close now. Just these final little bits of butter. And now that that's all melted through, we can move on. That shouldn't take more than around 3 or 4 minutes. And we're going to swap our spoon for a whisk. Give it one little more beat just to make sure it's all combined nicely. And now grab your eggs. So start off by adding your egg yolks first. So just pop them all in and make sure you whisk really quickly because you don't want them to cook. Make sure you get every last bit. And now that's in. So now start adding your eggs one at a time. The reason why this dessert works is because of the eggs in it. They're what cooks it and what bakes it. It's only got a tiny little bit of flour in it, and that's what allows it to set on the outside but keep the inside still a liquid centre. That's why you don't want to use too much flour either, because your sauce in the middle is the same as your batter. So you want it to taste beautiful and creamy and rich. The reason why we use egg yolks and eggs is because the eggs give the dish its rise when it cooks, but the egg yolks give it the beautiful creaminess of it, and they also give it stability. So that's why we need more egg yolks than we do eggs. So when that egg's combined through, and you can see it's starting to work, you can see a gloss and a shine on it, then add your next egg. So whisk this one through now. You want to whisk it fairly heavily because if you can get a bit of air into the mixture now, it helps. But you don't want to use electric beaters for this because they'll get too much air into the mixture and it'll be too light and it won't have the stability to hold up. So now that one's in, next one. The reason why we add these one at a time is because it allows the mixture to come together a lot better and a lot smoother. So with your final egg, give it a bit more beating than the other ones, just to make sure your mixture's all well combined and you've got that little bit of air in there you want. You may notice that this mixture is quite a lot wetter than most cakes and things you make, but this is what enables you to have the liquid centre in it. The amount of chocolate and eggs in here help it to set because we're going to place this in the fridge for around an hour, and that will help it to set firm, which means that when it cooks differently to how cakes cook. Finally now, add your flour. So combining all your flour in until you get a nice smooth batter again, which we now have, and now to put it into our moulds. Here I have 2 pre-greased ramekins. Just grease those with some butter, and I will grab a ladle just to put the mixture in. When you do this, you don't want to overfill them. Just fill them up to just below the ridge. If you overfill them, then they're going to rise too much in the oven, and then they're just going to pour over the edges. So about 2/3 of the way up is what you're after. So now I'm just going to put these in the fridge for an hour just to set up. So once your fondant's set in the fridge for an hour, take it out, put it in the oven at 180 degrees for 14 minutes. Make sure you time it because it's really important to get the timing right, because you don't want it to overcook because then you won't have a liquid centre. So now they've cooked for 14 minutes, we're gonna take them out of the oven. It's really important with these fondants just to allow them to sit for 2 minutes, just to let them all settle down, and then we'll serve them. So now that this has rested for 2 minutes, we just turn it out onto our plate. Just use a tea towel on the bottom because it's still hot. Plate on top, flip it over, and then lift your ramekin off. And with any luck, you'll get a nice flow of chocolate when you put your spoon in, just like that. Nice gooey centre, that's exactly what you're after. But coming up after the break, we're going to do an apple pear and blackberry crumble. It's going to be amazing.